details.
Wits University says this is a zero-day event. This is a cyber attack which exploits a software vulnerability that's unknown to the software vendor and has no patch. This means that the software developer has 0 days to solve the problem before the attack occurs. The higher education institution says its chief information officer is working with ICT, Oracle and cybersecurity experts to determine which data has been compromised. The university says it's already notified the information regulator of the incident, adding it's doing all it can to assess the potential risk to students and staff. Nogukhanya Mdambo, Eyewitness News.
Suspended Police Minister Senzo Mchunu has returned to Parliament today to answer more questions about alleged corruption as well as abuse of power. Mchunu has so far denied claims that he is linked to criminal syndicates. He has also been explaining the disbandment of the political killings task team. Babalondenze reports.
Evidence leader Norman Orenser told Senzo Mchunu that he thought it was bizarre how his directive on New Year's Eve last year landed with Kat Matlala and Brown Mokhotsi less than a day later. Orenser referred to WhatsApp messages where Mokhotsi and Matlala confirmed the disbandment of the task team. But Mchunu distanced himself from the messages and referred the committee to Matlala and Mokhotsi.
And I want to repeat, I never spoke to Brown Mokhotsi in this period, particularly about the disbandment. How he got to know, how he got access to the letter, it is better explained by him.
Mchunu says he has no links to any syndicates.
I want criminal syndicates. I want them, but not that I wanted to protect them.
Mchunu says he believes very strongly that the Constitution allowed him as the minister to take the decision to disband the task team. Babalondenze, Eyewitness News, Parliament.
The 7th Social Justice Summit has heard about the importance of tackling corruption in the country in order to achieve peace. The event is taking place at the Cape Town International Convention Centre, where President Cyril Ramaphosa is delivering the keynote address. The multi-sector gathering brings together various sectors of society to discuss issues about food security, climate change and peace. Former Public Protector Thuli Madonsela spoke earlier this morning.
In this particular case, we understand that peace is more than the absence of war. Gender-based violence is the absence of peace. Crime undermines human security. So it is the absence of peace of any nature. That includes the crime of corruption, including state capture.
Let's stay in Cape Town, where an investigation is underway following the discovery of human remains in a church garden. A caretaker made the grim find and alerted Kleinvlei police in Easter River yesterday. The bones were collected by forensic teams on site, the police's FC van Wyk.
They contacted the members attached to the Plattekloof laboratory, who on arrival confirmed that it is human remains. A postmortem will be conducted to identify the race, gender as well as cause of death.
And in Greece, 2 people have died in Chios after a makeshift boat carrying around 29 migrants capsized. Chios is one of the main entry points into Europe for people fleeing war and poverty. The country is seeing a significant increase in migrant arrivals over the summer, mostly from Libya and landing in Crete. Authorities say 10 people, including 3 who were seriously injured, have been rushed to the hospital. Gold is trading at $4,332.41 an ounce. The rand is at 17.44 to the dollar, 23.43 to the pound, 20.41 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $61.06 a barrel.
In the Calvin Alex area, we still have those roadworks causing heavy delays on the N3 northbound between Marlborough Drive and the Between Interchange. While in the mother city, there is an accident scene. This is on the N1 approaching Okavango, causing heavy delays. There's also slow-moving traffic heading into the Cape Town CBD on the elevated freeway.
It's a partly cloudy Friday in Gauteng today. Temperatures have peaked at highs of between 26 and 28 degrees, while Cape Town is partly cloudy with a fresh southerly wind and a high of 28. The top story in EWN this afternoon: Wits University has confirmed a cybersecurity breach on its system.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app. You're with Mandy Wiener on 702.
Let's walk the talk. Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
DSTV channel 856,
92.7
and 106 FM.
The Midday Report with Mandy Wiener on 702 and Cape Talk is brought to you by Nedbank Commercial Banking. Think bigger, think Nedbank Commercial Banking. On the show today, Police Minister Senzo Mchunu explains why the political killings task team was disbanded. We'll look at the broader state of South Africa's intelligence gathering capabilities. The rot in the RAF exposed. Another taxi route closure looms in the Cape. And it's Friday, so sports and good things too. All of that over the next hour.
The Midday Report with Mandy Wiener.
Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app, DSTV channel 856,
92.7
and 106 FM.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the Midday Report on 702 and Cape Talk with me, Mandy Wiener. Good to be with you today. Still a couple of different aspects that we're looking at when it comes to the policing in South Africa. So the Police Minister, Senzo Mchunu, who remains on special leave, he is still giving evidence before the ad hoc committee. Proceedings at the Madlanga inquiry, we're watching that. And then a new channel that's opened. And I think we're going to see this as we progress through both of these inquiries, where the police are acting quickly, IDAC acting, the police watchdog acting, and that is because of the move on Brown Mokgotzi's premises yesterday, Northwest Police descending on his premises. Today, we're waiting for Brown Mokgotzi to hand over his devices at the Sandton police station, so we'll get an update on that. But we're starting to see some serious movement, the dominoes falling. Are you satisfied with what you're seeing so far? We're effectively 2 to 3 weeks in now. Are you satisfied with what you're hearing? Do you feel like we're getting to the bottom of this? Will there be accountability from these various inquiries and progress being made? Send me a WhatsApp voice note, 072 702 1702, 072 567 1567. The Police Minister, Senzo Mchunu, yesterday on the witness stand speaking about the decision to disband the PKTT, the Political Killings Task Team, also making it clear that he denies any links to criminal syndicates or individuals implicated in criminal activity. Babalo Ndenze, EWN parliamentary reporter, is watching the cross-examination now, essentially, by MPs of that ad hoc committee. Babalo Ndenze joining us. Babalo, good afternoon to you. Take us through what Senzo Mchunu is being asked.
Yes, indeed, Mandy. Senzo Mchunu back for day 2 of his testimony. The evidence leader, Advocate Norman Arendse, was granted, I think, an extra half a day to put more questions to him. It looks like he has a lot of questions for him as compared to the other witnesses. So Arendse is still putting questions to him today. I think for the rest of today's session, it will just be him. And he's just picked up from where he left off yesterday on the PKTT. Yesterday's testimony really was centered around the PKTT mostly, as well as those other links to individuals like Brown Mokgotzi. And Arendse put in questions to him on saying that the directive, Mchunu's directive on New Year's Eve last year, it came as a huge surprise for Fani Masemola, as well as Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi. And he says it would have been a perfect opportunity to inform them about this directive on the 28th of December, a few days before that letter was published, where they were at a funeral of a police officer in KZN. But Mchunu says, at funerals, one doesn't usually discuss business. It's unnatural to just pull Masemola aside and tell him about his decision or his directive. And he says, normally one wouldn't inform, officials about a directive, a policy directive, before it's published, in any case. And he also tells the committee that when he wrote this letter on the 31st of December at his KZN rural homestead, where he says he went there, for solitude and to focus on this. He says he was quite sober when he wrote it. He was of sober mind. They had a bit of a light moment since it was a New Year's Eve letter that was written. But he says he was of sober mind when he put this letter together. And he also says they had a number of meetings before then since his appointment. And nothing, related to a directive would have come up at these meetings. He says they had 28 meetings with the leadership of SAPS since his appointment as minister. He had more than 9 meetings with Masemola himself. And he also goes on to also give his reasons now for this directive. And he says It gives two examples. For example, the complaints from Mary De Haas, who's a crime activist, and she's part of, I think, a violence monitor, and who also complained to the Portfolio Committee of Police about this PKTT and basically also calling for its disbanding, as well as another activist, a whistleblower rather, Patricia Mashale, and he's using these people as, some of the examples or the reasons that he based his decision on. And he also basing his decision saying that, another issue, a third issue here is issue around breaching of the PFMA. He says the PKTT financially, was, running amok, so to speak, and there was no accountability as far as the funds were concerned. He said earlier yesterday that there were, their claims were far bigger than the permanent unit members of the SAPS, because the task team is not permanent. And he says that, there were issues about, the law being broken or the breaching of the law, which was also another key reason for his decision or his directive. But now they've currently on a break now, Mandy, for a few minutes before he continues this PKTT cross-examination. It looks like the only focus today will be PKTT. He's addressed the Brown Mokgotsi issue. It might come up again as Norman Arendse wraps up is leading his evidence, Mandy.
Babalo, thank you. Babalo and Denze, EWN parliamentary reporter. I'm watching on the screens here in studio as well. That break has now commenced. So what we'll do is when Senzo Mkunu starts testifying again, being led by Norman Arendse, we'll pop back in and take a listen to proceedings live a bit later on in the show. But you heard their mention of Brown Mokgotsi, and we've seen some movement on Brown Mokgotsi. The Northwest Police descending on his premises yesterday. We're waiting for him to hand over his devices in Sandton today. Oren Singh, EWN reporter, watching that for us. So, Oren, for people that weren't necessarily aware of what was happening yesterday, tell us about this movement now by Northwest Police. What exactly are they acting on, and what were they trying to do?
Afternoon, Mandy. From far as what we understand, we're not sure which units actually descended on Mafikeng in the Northwest. We do know that they went to Brown Mokgotsi's business premises. We previously reported that he has two business premises in the Northwest, a bottle store and a restaurant. And they raided that bottle store and restaurant looking for confidential crime intelligence documents, as well as looking for him to confiscate digital devices or electronic devices. They were acting on a search and seizure warrant. So similar to what we saw last week when suspended Deputy National Police Commissioner Shadrach Sibiya's home was raided in Centurion, as well as that of the Chief of Staff of Senzo Mkunu, Cedric Nkabinde, although they didn't get to him. And they also attempted to get to Senzo Mkunu's place himself, but were blocked by Senzo Mkunu's protectors. So similar raids taking place.
So we're expecting Brown Mokgotsi to hand over his devices today. What do we know about that and what's happening with it?
As far as we understand, Mandy, Brown was not in the Northwest yesterday. He's currently in the Sandton Morningside area. He has been consulting with attorneys yesterday and today. And we understand that he is going to be going to Sandton Police Station to hand over these devices. Although it kind of defeats the purpose if you think about it, because
he's had all the time in the world to do
you've had all
whatever
the
he
time in
wants.
the world to switch phones or give the wrong device in. So I don't know how much of that is actually going to play into what they're trying to investigate and uncover. But nevertheless, that's what he says. He's going to be at Sandton SAPS today to hand over those devices.
And that is a very odd approach, right? Because ordinarily this would be a part of a search and seizure. You could bring an application to search without notification beforehand. So I wonder why the police have done it like this.
And it's also funny.
An Anton Pillar, that's what it's called.
Anton Pillar. It's also funny, Mandy, because there's definitely two camps at play here, and you can see it quite clearly that there's two different factions that are at play here, because essentially Brown Mokgotsi got tipped off that they were going to be coming, and he came to Joburg, and he wasn't in the Northwest. We know that he has in the past said he is a crime intelligence informant, and then gone out onto certain media platforms and said he's not an informant. So it begs the question, who is providing him with intelligence?
That's wild, Oren. Like, if this is the irony here, because he's accused of having relationships with police officers, and if he was tipped off about the fact that he was going to be raided, that is the very essence of this case.
Exactly. And so it begs the question, who's talking to who? who's providing information to who, and Brown Mokhotsi himself accused of meddling in police affairs and providing confidential information to alleged criminals. So, yeah, we'll see what happens today, Mandy.
Okay, interesting. Thank you very much, Oren Singh, EWN reporter, giving us an update there on the Brown Mokhotsi matter.
The Midday Report with Mandy Wiener is brought to you by Nedbank Commercial Banking. See money differently.
Real growth needs more than just banking, and Nedbank Commercial Banking is your growth partner. Their team of industry experts understand your business and its potential, offering insight to help you see opportunity where others see obstacles. Because when you can see what others don't, you can do what others can't. Think bigger. Think Nedbank Commercial Banking. See money differently. Nedbank is a licensed FSP and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
The Wits School of Governance develops leaders and innovators who reimagine governance, strengthen institutions, and drive inclusive growth across Africa. Your journey to impact starts there, from postgraduate diplomas to masters, PhD programs, and executive education tailored for today's wicked problems. They equip change makers in government, civil society, and the private sector with the tools to lead boldly and with purpose. Governance matters. Visit WSG.ac.za and apply today.
There's something magical about booking your next getaway. Whether you're flying for business or leisure, Airlink is ready to take you there in premium comfort. With over 45 destinations in 15 African countries, Airlink connects you throughout Southern Africa and beyond. No middle seats, just wider window or aisle seating. And yes, free luggage, snacks and beverages are still our thing. Plus, our Skybucks frequent fly program rewards you every time you fly. Book on flyairlink.com or your travel agent. Fly Airlink, the freedom of the African sky.
The Outsurance pointsmen know that every car on the road carries a story. Like the eager beaver driving to meet the woman of his dreams. Butterflies in his stomach, GPS on full volume. He checks his hair for the 7th time.
Looking good.
The Outsurance pointsmen know it's not just a car in traffic. It's a possible love story on the move. Every story is different and every story matters. That's why the Outsurance pointsmen have been doing what they do since 2005 in proud partnership with 702. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
And now, it's back to Mandy Wiener on the Midday Report.
This is 702.
Let's walk the talk.
12:17 on the Midday Report. Well, we've been talking to you about Senzo Mkunu's testimony, the police minister at the ad hoc committee. So let's get some reaction to that now and some analysis as well. He's been speaking about the political killings task team that had to be disbanded because the Ministry of Police could not keep funding a unit that was only operating in one corner of the country. Andy Mashaile is a former ambassador to Interpol and security strategist who joins us now. Andy, good afternoon to you. Thank you very much for your time today. It's quite a remarkable thing to see a sitting police minister, albeit one who is on special leave, speaking about the inner workings of the police, his decision to disband the political killings task team. What is your take so far?
It is definitely a once-in-a-lifetime experience for both you and I, Mandy, and seeing him unpack how policing works in a way and manner that's supposed to strike a balance of the accusation held at him by Ntantam Khwanaze has been a long shot, a tall mountain to climb for him. When you look at the combative nature of responding to the questions posed by the evidence leader and some of those who were in the house yesterday, him answering in a long-winded way that would suggest that there are some guarded, can I say, there are some ways in the mind that says, I don't have to throw myself under the bus. But I am happy that yesterday went through, and today we are seeing revelations where he says he consulted the lawyer and the special advisor, and he was told that it was all in order, that letter. But when you and I look at Margot van Rooyen at Mazanga Commission unpacking the constitutional prescripts and the SAPS Act in terms of who has the right to can be involved in operations and to manage those operations, and who has a policy responsibility. I was convinced when I listened to Margot van Rooyen that the lines are very clear. This is where the minister stops, this is where the minister starts, this is where the NASCOM starts, and this is where the NASCOM stops.
So this is the concern that we've had consistently, is that you'll have one commission hearing witnesses, you'll have this other inquiry running in parallel. We're getting versions from different people and different things that are advancing at different stages. And you've referred to Margot van Rooyen's evidence at Madlanga. Are you worried about the fact that we've got these two processes running in parallel?
From the word go, I did indicate that juxtapositioning these fora, or these two forums, for the want of a better way, you will have some serious challenges in terms of if one of the forums findings differs from the findings of the other forum, which is now the Madlanga Commission and the ad hoc committee. We are going to have a serious negative perception with regard to the issue of integrity of the process, as well as legitimacy of the process, especially looking at your ad hoc committee with a different setup in terms of the different political parties in there, gunning for the head of the minister, those parties that he doesn't come from, and his own party having it to defend him. But let you and I take solace in the fact that the parliamentary process only looks at accountability, will not have teeth to bite from a prosecutorial reference, as opposed to the Madlanga Commission, which identifies and extracts nugget of wisdom for criminality can be referred for prosecution.
Andy, thank you so much. Andy Mashaile, former ambassador to Interpol, security strategist, speaking to us there about the Senzo Miyu. Again, I can't help myself. The Senzo Mchunu testimony that we're hearing at the ad hoc committee in Parliament. So we'll keep watching that for you. We'll bring you some of that when Senzo Mchunu does return to the stand. A break there at the moment. But all of this that we're seeing around the ad hoc committee and the Madlanga inquiry does raise concerns around our general intelligence gathering capabilities. The security cluster is in the spotlight. So how capable are we as a country of actually gathering intelligence? The president suspending the Inspector General of Intelligence with immediate effect on Wednesday night. Where does that leave us? Dr. Musi Maimane is the leader of BOSA and joins us now to share his views on that. Dr. Maimane, good afternoon to you. Thank you very much for your time today.
Good afternoon, Mandy, and good afternoon, fellow South Africans. Thank you so much for having me.
Our security cluster very much under pressure at the moment. We see what's happening with the police. Also now disruption when it comes to the Inspector General of Intelligence. How concerned are you about the situation?
It is deeply concerning, fundamentally because citizens across the country have felt the lack of, in certain instances, effective policing, and in other instances, effective intelligence. None of us can forget the riots of July a few years ago, where effectively intelligence had failed. The pressure that is upon us as a system is that South Africa's leadership failure has meant that we're now entering into a space of omni-crisis, where it's one crisis upon another, because when the initial symptoms occur, we fail the basic job of acting then. Sidney Mufumadi had made a recommendation about the professionalization of the intelligence services. We did very little to act on that, and now today we've nearly just about have to resuscitate the entire intelligence community. When it comes to the issues of policing, we await until the Madlanga Commission, etc. Instead of, if you'll recall, even on the Marikana reports and many other commissions before that, had made recommendations about how we even do things like public water policing, etc. But we do not act at the time until it is at crisis level. And ultimately, because the state has been captured so profoundly by the ANC that it has never been able to recover from being a public service, it has now been consistently become a party service. And it is about time that all of these crises come to a head so that we can take decisive action.
The real concern that you raise is that politicians have tampered with the state's intelligence services. And this is what the inquiry is looking at and the commission is looking at. The fact that we have a politicization of law enforcement.
Absolutely. And ultimately, this mission that was set out, or state capture, when President Zuma was removed, what we failed to do is remove all the other infrastructure of state capture so that we can professionalize the state service. We can appoint the best people. It still baffles me that even in the appointment of the top cop in the country, there isn't a sense upon which we can open that transparently so that we get and vote for the best policeman to lead the police. And in fact, in terms of the Inspector General, that process be transparent so that citizens are clear that this is the leadership that they work with and the police can respond to it. If it remains ultimately a party political process in certain parts, we are going to have a repeat of state capture in version after version, and we'll keep running commission after commission. I would argue strongly that the professionalization of the public service can no longer be delayed, and ultimately the institutionalization that ensure politicians interfere in how certain decisions are made, as the commission is proving.
We have lost that line, unfortunately, but nearing an end there. Musi, thank you so much. Apologies for that line. Dr. Musi Maimane making the point that we should be having a meritocracy effectively, that the professionalization of the police service is really, really necessary. And I tend to agree with him. Otherwise, we will be having inquiry after inquiry. And you have to look at this in its full context. So thank you, Dr. Musi Maimane, leader of BOSA.
702. Mandy Wiener.
Weekdays, 12 to 1 p.m.
As we have been telling you all week, there is another inquiry that is underway in Parliament, and that's the inquiry into the Road Accident Fund. We really are getting a sense of what was going on within the Road Accident Fund, the culture of fear under the former CEO, and we've been hearing from various witnesses. Lindsay Dentlinger, EWN's parliamentary reporter, on that story for us. Lindsay, good afternoon to you. Take us through who is giving evidence today and what you've been hearing.
Good afternoon, Mandy. Well, no evidence today. It was really a housekeeping meeting of the Standing Committee on Public Accounts today to discuss correspondence that it has received from the former CEO, Colin Sletswalo, in connection with the committee requesting his presence towards the end of the inquiry once they have heard from most of the witnesses. But in the main, the correspondence sent by Mr. Sletswalo to the committee about 2 weeks ago, a day before the inquiry started, was that he is questioning the legality of this inquiry. He does not believe that in terms of the Constitution and the rules that govern the work of these committees in Parliament, that the Standing Committee of Public Accounts is has the mandate to probe the financial mismanagement that has been happening at the Road Accident Fund, and he believes that the Portfolio Committee on Transport is better placed to handle this matter. He is also, we would say perhaps, I think the word that the legal advisor used today was a diluted commitment to appear before the inquiry. He says he will only do so if and respond to witness testimony that is backed up by sworn statements. Some of the witnesses who appeared this week did not provide statements. It's not required of them to do so. Some have deposited statements on oath, and Colin Sletswalo says he will only respond to things that have been delivered in writing in a sworn affidavit. He won't respond to allegations and rumors that are not backed up, and he wants all the documents and reports and the like that the committee is considering in this inquiry to be presented to him, and then only then will he decide whether and when he will then appear before the committee.
Lindsay, thank you so much. Lindsay Dentlinger, EWN's parliamentary reporter. I'd be very interested to hear from the former CEO about that the running, because we've heard from Macintosh Pulela, for example, about what the culture was like within the road accident fund. So to hear from Collins Letswalo, I think, is going to be crucial to this inquiry. 12:30, time for Eyewitness News headlines.
Thanks, Mandy. Good afternoon. Former Road Accident Fund CEO Collins Letswalo has questioned the authority of Parliament's Standing Committee on Public Accounts to conduct an inquiry into the financial affairs of the agency. Letswalo says he believes SCOPA has the wrong committee for this undertaking and that instead it should be Parliament's Transport Portfolio Committee that should take on the task. In correspondence to the committee, Letswalo says it's unclear why he is being requested to appear as a witness. President Cyril Ramaphosa has praised government efforts in advancing social justice over the past 3 decades. He was speaking at the 7th Social Justice Summit held at the Cape Town International Convention Centre this morning. This year's summit focuses on food security and exploring ways to ensure that all South Africans have access to proper nutrition. And in Madagascar, military leader Michael Randrianirina has been sworn in as the country's new president. The island nation's constitutional court formalized the appointment this morning in a ceremony. His appointment comes days after a military takeover which resulted in former President Andry Rajoelina fleeing the country. Those are the headlines. This EWN and more at 1 or as it happens.
EWN Sport.
Good afternoon, I'm Tolagile Mganga. We started at the World Cup, where the match between Sri Lanka women and South Africa is currently being delayed by rain. Sri Lanka were at the crease on 46 for the loss of 2 after 12 overs. Yesterday, defending champions Australia sealed their spot in the semi-finals. That follows a 10-wicket win over Bangladesh. SA Rugby have confirmed the dates and venues for the Greatest Rivalry, which is a tour which will take place every 4 years and hosted alternately between South Africa and New Zealand. The All Blacks will visit these shores next year with 8 matches scheduled, including 4 tests at Ellis Park, DHL and FNB Stadium, as well as a landmark 4th game at an international venue. Springbok coach Rassie Erasmus says the name of the tour is meant to reflect the vast history between the two nations.
The name, the Greatest Rivalry, says a lot. I hope people don't see that in an arrogant way. It's just a history between us and New Zealand. It's really rich. 6 Nations is an awesome tournament. I know Top 14 is an awesome tournament, and all the others. So for us to say it's the greatest rivalry is not to say that it's better than the other competitions. It's just this rivalry between us and New Zealand has been going on for so long.
And Sports Minister Gayton McKenzie has run the risk of interfering politically in football matters after writing a letter to FIFA offering an apology on SAFA's administration mishap. That comes after Bafana were docked 3 points during 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifying for fielding an ineligible Tebogo Mokoena during the game against Lesotho. McKenzie adds that he's written to the association asking for a detailed report outlining the circumstances that had led to the error.
Sorry, I know we're talking later, but does this work the same as cricket, where if the minister interferes, then they can kick you out of the World Cup?
Yes.
Wow.
They ban you, and then obviously because you're banned, you can't take part in other competitions, and it would impact that. And even though he says he's not viewing it as interfering politically, the mere fact that a minister, as opposed to an association president, is writing to FIFA to say A, B, and C.
High risk, hey?
Exactly. Tolagile Mganga, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
Well, at this stage in the Calvin Alex area, we still have those roadworks slowing down traffic. N3 northbound between Marlborough Drive and the Bacloon Interchange. Also traveling through Midrand, there's also slow-moving traffic. This is on the N1 southbound between New Road and Olifantsfontein Road, while in the Mother City, heading into the Cape Town CBD, slow-moving traffic on the elevated freeway. Also, bumper-to-bumper traffic due to an accident scene on the N1 inbound approaching Okovango. And then also look out for those roadworks on Nelson Mandela Boulevard outgoing. This is heading towards Strand Street. If you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072-702-1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
To celebrate 25 years of helping you live the Premier life, FNB Premier is giving you a chance to win a 14-day European tour experience and other cool monthly prizes. Open any FNB Premier account from September to 31 December 2025. Switch your salary, swipe or tap a minimum of 2,000 Rand per month for 3 months straight. Spend and win with FNB Premier. FNB, help changes everything. TCs and competition rules apply. FNB, a division of First Rand Bank Limited, an authorized financial services and credit provider.
Checkers Extra Weekend is back. For 3 days only, save extra on deals like Steakhouse Classic man-sized T-bone steak for 150 Rand per kilo. Le Pack 250-gram tubs, any two for 139 Rand. Save 41 Rand. And Blue 52 all-in-one pool care, 1.2 kgs for 79 Rand. Save 100 Rand. Orange is the new black. Valid this weekend only at Checkers, while stocks last.
Mzansi, Powerball has reached a staggering 150 million Rand guaranteed jackpot this Friday. Only 3 times in history has Powerball reached such jaw-breaking levels. Be in it to win it by playing Powerball for the guaranteed 150 million Rand jackpot today. Buy your tickets now in store on nationallottery.co.za, the mobile app, cell phone banking, or simply dial *120 *7529 hash for USSD. Panda, Pusha, play. Players must be 18 years old or play responsibly. E2 is the proud operator of the National Lottery.
Feel the rhythm of summer at the Old Mutual Music in the Gardens, featuring Mikasa and Jazeel Brothers, live on Saturday, 25 October at the Walter Sisulu Botanical Garden. Experience soulful sounds, sunshine, and good vibes in one of Joburg's most beautiful settings. Get your tickets now at webtickets.co.za. Proudly presented by Old Mutual, 702 and Breakout Events.
WhatsApp Mandy
on 072 702 1702.
Good afternoon, Mandy. I'm very clear that there are certain heroes and certain villains in this expose by Lieutenant General Mukwanazi, because none of these inquiries would be happening if it wasn't for the expose by Mukwanazi himself. So he's a hero for me. And also, you can already see that there are certain villains. Minister Mchunu is being very evasive, and someone like Brown Mokhotsi and what's the name, General Sibia, are clearly implicated in negative ways. Thanks, Farai.
Guys, unfortunately, we have what is called a mafia state. So no matter which way we turn it, left, right, or center, you are going to have political interference. You're going to have cover-ups. You're going to have everything possible. Nobody wants to go to jail, especially people that have committed these crimes. So, yeah, until we don't get rid of the so-called perpetrators, we'll have this carrying on until doomsday.
For perpetuity. Thank you very much for those WhatsApp voice notes. Farai, I completely respect your opinion on this. And I think a lot of people have made that decision already, that there are heroes, there are villains. But I think as the media, we need to be quite responsible about this, where we can't cast people into certain roles until we've heard the full story. I think we need to be responsible and careful around that. And that's why I keep saying we can't have heroes and villains and good guys or bad guys. Let's hear the evidence. Let's hear from everyone in these inquiries, and then we can make a decision. And I completely understand if everybody makes a different decision. That's the court of public opinion.
The Midday Report with Mandy Wiener on 702 and Cape Talk is brought to you by Nedbank Commercial Banking. See money differently.
Well, in the Western Cape, there's a possibility of another 30-day taxi route shutdown. It's looming as rival taxi associations CATA and CODETA have still shown no sign of finding a solution to their impasse. Remember, there was that 30-day court-ordered closure of taxi routes. There were lanes between Khayelitsha and Mfuleni, Somerset West, and so that happened. Now we could see another one. Let's understand where we are with Ntutuzelo Nene, EWN reporter who joins us in our Cape Town studio. Ntutuzelo, good afternoon to you. Where are we at the moment with the taxi route shutdown? Has it expired, or are we moving on to another one? What's happening?
Good afternoon, Mandy. I've been receiving text messages from
anxious commuters, wanting to know whether there is going to be a further extension of the shutdown of those taxi routes and lanes on the affected corridor. Now, Minister Seleku has published a notice of intent to extend the extraordinary measures that were put in place on September 17th to close these routes and lanes for a further 30 days. Now, he's given these two rival taxi associations, CATA and CODETA, until 3 p.m. this afternoon to convince him why he shouldn't extend the closures. And what I've gathered from the MEC is that the only way that they can sway him is to show him a plan that is agreed upon by both associations, showing commitment to working together peacefully on those routes. There is an interim or a temporal plan that has been suggested for both associations to share the workload while the negotiations for a permanent solution continue. This is not a new plan, Mandy. It's something that they've tried before the shutdown was put in place. The plan had its own hiccups, so it ended up not working. So that is why both CATA and CODETA, when I spoke to them yesterday, they are skeptical about it, but they've told us that they are willing to try again. But I can tell you now, Mandy, that the 3 p.m. deadline won't be met because on CATA's side, they've asked for more time, to consult their members in the affected Luandle region, which is in that Somerset West area. And CATA has also has a leadership elections coming up next week, Thursday. So they're saying that they want to deal with that first so that, they can have new leadership that can facilitate these talks with that CATA Luandle region so that, they don't find some of their members, waking up one day and saying, "Hey, we were not consulted, so we are going against whatever the decision that will be taken." So they don't want to rush into any decision before they've had these consultations with that affected region, of CATA.
Gisela, what about the impact on commuters? Because at the end of the day, that's what really matters. What are people doing in the interim?
Look, there is, there are alternative transport arrangements that were made that are still, I guess will still be available. The Golden Arrow bus service and the Metro Rail trains. But, from the people that I've spoken to, especially from Fuleni to Somerset West, people that I know who work in Somerset West, who stays in Fuleni, they're saying that it's been a struggle for them, with Golden Arrow because, during that peak period where people need to be, traveling to work, there's only one bus, for everybody else, for the people that were using the bus before, and now with the added, number of commuters coming from the people that were using minibus taxis. Now it's full. It's it takes longer to get to their destinations, and so there are those elements that they've raised. So they essentially want the taxis to operate again, but it looks like the 30-day shutdown will be extended by another 30 days because the only way that Seleku said he will consider not implementing the extraordinary measures is if these two associations come back with a plan to say, okay, this is a plan. Yes, it ain't gonna happen by the look of things.
Ntutuzelo, thank you so much. Ntutuzelo Nene, EWN reporter speaking to us there. So it looks as though, as he says, that move to stop those routes, the taxi organizations need to find each other. That's the only way it's going to resolve. And it looks like that ain't going to happen.
702.
The Midday Report with Mandy Wiener.
Let's walk the talk.
Well, today, the 17th of October, is National Emergency Medical Services Day, and an important day to remind us about why it's so important that we have life-saving CPR skills. I'll never forget, and this wasn't as a reporter, it was just as a kind of regular civilian. I was driving and I arrived on the scene of an accident very, very shortly after it happened. And at the time I thought, sure, I really need to improve my CPR skills, my life-saving skills if I find myself in that kind of situation again. So very important that various organizations are emphasizing this today. One of those is a Crisis on Call Best Care Ambulance Services. They are with their emergency partners leading a national campaign to empower South Africans with life-saving CPR skills. And one of the people responsible for that is seasoned paramedic Zander Laubscher, who's joining us to speak about the importance of this. Zander, good afternoon to you. Thank you so much for your time. Why is it so important to equip South Africans with the confidence to act in a crisis?
Good afternoon, and thank you for the opportunity to speak about this very important topic. As you rightfully said, today is National Emergency Medical Services Day, but yesterday was International Restart the Heart Day. So October is all about life-saving awareness and campaigns, and we value life as people, as human. We want to live as long as possible, and that is our function as paramedics and first responders, is to prevent the inevitable from happening. We are all going to die, but you don't necessarily have to die today. For example, if I had to tell you now a family member will pass away in an hour, you would live your life totally different for that next hour. But sudden cardiac arrest is sudden, it's unexpected, and that is why it is so important to equip lay people, the general public, as much as possible, people with the knowledge of CPR, so that they can buy time for the patient while the ambulance is mobile to you, because ambulances can take time to reach you. So it is essential just to give that artificial chest compressions or artificial heartbeat to sustain or to improve the chances for that person to be revived.
I never realized that it was an option for citizens, everyday citizens who are not emergency services operators, to learn how to use a defibrillator, an automated external defibrillator. How would I even go about learning how to do that?
Yeah, so you don't need any training to use an automated external defibrillator. It is a tool that can be used by simply just switching it on, because once you switch an AED, the acronym, if you switch the defibrillator on, it will tell you what to do. So even if you didn't receive formal training, the device internationally, all of them are set up the same. You can, in fact, some of the latest defibrillators comes in different languages, so you can switch between languages as well. And it will tell you, okay, take out the pads, stick it to the patient's chest. On the pads itself, there's a little illustration that shows you exactly where it should be placed. And it will prompt you whether a patient is in a shockable rhythm or not. And if the patient is in a shockable rhythm, it will advise you to press the flashing orange button usually. So, like I said, you don't need any formal training. However, we do advise that everyone who's listening today to this interview to at least go for basic first aid. It's not just about CPR, but CPR is the most vital skill that you can have, because that is literally the difference between life and death. But you can learn other skills as well, like stopping bleeding or helping someone who's choking, and you will get formalized training on how to use an AED confidently.
Zander, thank you so much for emphasizing that. So important, and let this serve as a reminder to you. Zander Laubscher, seasoned EMS paramedic, speaking to us there about the importance of learning first aid, learning CPR, and doing it as a matter of urgency.
Medical care, like music, needs continuity, a steady rhythm and pattern, patients attended to on time, medication taken as prescribed. Cut the rhythm and it falls apart. Right now, global funding cuts are restricting access to healthcare. With your support, Doctors Without Borders can continue to provide medical care to communities worldwide. Because medicine, like music, only works when uninterrupted. Doctors Without Borders, we go there.
Lock into roaring rugby action this season with Hollywood Bets. Bet 50 Rand or more on any Vodacom United Rugby Championship fixture and you could win a share of 300,000 Rand in cash, betting vouchers or prizes. This includes Smeg bar fridges, macro vouchers, a Sharks captain run or a player's circle experience. Only the toughest team will prevail. Bet now and let the rugby rumble begin. T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counselling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710.
The Outsurance pointsmen know that every car on the road carries a story. Like a businesswoman on the way to the airport after sleeping through her alarm. Bags in the back, boarding pass on the dashboard. She prays she'll make her flight. The Outsurance pointsmen know it's not just a car in traffic, it's the potential closing of a big deal. Every story is different and every story matters. That's why the Outsurance pointsmen have been doing what they do since 2005, in proud partnership with 702. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
Sports Wrap.
Sports Wrap.
With Tolakele Mganga.
Tolakele Mganga joining us to give us a wrap of what we can expect this weekend. But firstly, it would be remiss of us not to speak about the week that was with Bafana Bafana.
Oh, Mandy, can you believe it? We're going to America, darling.
We're going to America. Have you seen that coming to America meme?
But so some of us might not be let in. Let's clean up our social media, guys. We have time. Of course, like the plaudits, congratulations to Hugo Bruch, to the team. I think adding to the good vibes and the rise of Bafana Bafana at the moment, the announcement this morning from SAFA that there'll be a new technical sponsor. And this time around, it's Adidas. I remember in the run up to AFCON and Bafana reaching the semi-finals, you couldn't find a lot of Bafana kits at the Lecoq Sportif shops. So I think for them as a brand, much like SA Rugby now have their own shops, I think if you're SAFA, you're trying to re-establish the team and trying to create their new identity. And this is the right way to go.
Let's hope Gayton doesn't cost it for us.
Mandy, not the bad vibes.
Sorry. Okay, let's talk about this weekend. Keith has a message. Some of the presenters of Radio 702 can walk the talk, but will they walk again alone when the final whistle is blown? Last time Man United won a game at Anfield was the 6th of January 2016. Not even Hugo Bruch can help the Red Devils.
How dare you, Keith? It's been a hard season. It's so funny because I was thinking back how when the season ended last year, Ruben Amorim said, the good times are coming. We need a date of when those times are because it's not been fun. Yes, going into the international break, the team did beat Sunderland and Liverpool are, of course, on their 3-game losing run. But despite where Liverpool are, Manchester United definitely go into this encounter as the underdogs. I think if Arne Slot is to convince the critics that they are genuine title contenders, it's a game against Manchester United and a comprehensive win that will do it for them. But other fixtures to look forward to this weekend include Brighton up against Newcastle, Manchester City take on Everton, while Chelsea up against Nottingham Forest. Enzo Maresca will not be on the touchline for that game because he celebrated so much they went over Liverpool that the FA have now banned him. So he will not be there. And then for fans of local football, Kaizer Chiefs, Orlando Pirates and Mamelodi Sundowns are involved, and Stellenbosch are involved in continental action. Stellies and Chiefs are taking part in their preliminary CAF Confed Cup second round games. And then for Pirates and Mamelodi Sundowns, it's in the CAF Champions League. Yes, Mandy.
For those of you who are watching on YouTube, Tolakele speaks with her fingers. It's the funniest thing. Sorry, I just I got distracted by your fingers. This is why we have to cut to the YouTube stream. Now people look at your fingers. Hey, there's URC this weekend, right?
Yes, there is. The Bulls looking to make sure that under Johan Ackermann, they're getting back to winning ways. The Sharks have been struggling, surprisingly. So for them, even they want to get back to winning ways. So there's a lot to watch. More importantly, the Proteas women are currently in action up against Sri Lanka. We know that opening game against England was not the best, but since then they've won 3 in a row, and this is pretty much the business end of the group stages. Australia, who are the defending champions, have already booked their spot in the semi-final. For South Africa, a win here would definitely edge them closer to ensuring that they're improving their net run rate and making sure they're the last 4 when it comes to this competition.
Let's hope. Tolakele, thank you so much. Tolakele Mganga with the Weekend Sport. Real growth needs more than just banking, and Nedbank Commercial Banking is your growth partner. Their team of industry experts understand your business and its potential, offering insight to help you see opportunity where others see obstacles. Because when you can see what others don't, you can do what others can't. Think bigger. Think Nedbank Commercial Banking. See money differently. Nedbank is a licensed FSP and registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
Betway's exclusive new games are taking the world by storm. Featuring massive Mega Ways jackpots. Take your shot on Cash and Riches, Wolf Blaze, Gallo Gold Brunos, and many more incredible experiences for you to choose from. You're guaranteed to find a new ultra fun favorite. Get way more only at Betway. Betway's licensed by the Mpumalanga Economic Regulator. No persons under the age of 18 are permitted to gamble. NRGP counseling line 0800 006 008. All events are fixed odds betting games.
LLB graduates can fast-track their legal career with the Law Society of South Africa's PVT School for Legal Practice. LPC accredited, this 4-month practice-ready course, which is taught by practicing lawyers, can reduce your PVT contract by 12 months for admission. Study by day, after hours, or via distance at campuses nationwide. The first 2026 intake runs from January to April. Applications close 31 October 2025. Apply now at lssalead.org.za. That's lssalead.org.za.
Good things.
Good things.
With Brent Lindeque.
Wrapping up the week for us as always with a bit of good things. Good things guy Brent Lindeque, brought to you by Bonitas, medical aid for South Africa. Brent Lindeque, happy Friday.
Happy Friday, man, and happy Friday to all of the 702 and Cape Talk listeners. It's always lekker to hang out with you on a Friday.
It's always lekker to hang out with you too, Brent. So tell us about From Foster Care to a Future Doctor, Fifi's story inspiring South Africans.
So this is just an incredible story that was shared by the Western Cape Minister of Social Development. Fifi went on a roadshow with them to speak about her journey of being a foster child. Her and her sister tragically lost their mother in 2016 and their life changed overnight. But the sisters were placed in foster care, and just 10 years later, Fifi is a fifth-year medical student at the University of Cape Town. And in her message, when she stood up and spoke to these kids who are in the foster system, she said, you may feel neglected or have experienced insults in your community because of what happened to you. Life may not have started easy for you, but it doesn't have to be the end of your story. You need to keep pushing, reach for the opportunities out there, and ask for help when you need it. You need to believe in your own story. And I think it's such a powerful story to show that you can change your circumstances.
I love the story about the 16 flights, one cat, a community that refused to give up, how kindness climbed all the way.
Gosh, in KZN this week, a passerby was walking past an abandoned building and heard moaning and moaning and moaning from the top of the floor. A little kitty was stuck up there. Luckily, they got hold of the Animal Rescue and Rehab Center. They had someone who climbed the 16 stories, which doesn't sound like a lot, but when you're thinking about stairs, that's super heavy, and made it to the sort of apartment building where this cat was stuck. The door had closed on the cat, and the cat had been stuck there for 6 days without food or water and was literally hanging out of the window crying for help. But thanks to the selfless team of volunteers and just kind South Africans and the people at the Animal Rescue and Rehab Center, that cat is on its way to safety and maybe being rehomed as well, which is the sweet little story.
Poor kitty. And lastly, Brent, tell us about the 2 culinary stars that are shining again in Cape Town.
Listen, I'm actually going to get tired of speaking about Fane and Lepete Kolom in Cape Town because they've won so many awards in the last couple of years. I'm kidding when I said that. They are great restaurants. And they've just made it onto Africa's Best list, which placed them in 22nd, which is where Fane was, and number 24 in Africa. Lepete Kolom was there. It was the publication was the TripAdvisor's Traveller Choice Awards for the best of the best restaurants in the fine dining category. And out of more than 8 million listings worldwide, we made it onto number 22 and 24, which is just such a great accolade for our country. And hopefully that brings in more tourists to South Africa to visit those restaurants and other parts of our beautiful South Africa.
Brent, as always, thanks for bringing us the sunshine, the light, the balance that we all need, and for wrapping up our week for us.
Thank you, man, and to all of the listeners, as I say every single Friday, wishing you only good things.
Only good things, Brent Lindekoe, the good things guy, and get the care you need when you need it with Bonitas. The medical aid for South Africa with strong reserves and financial performance. Bonitas can afford to pay your claims and was voted the #1 medical aid in the Ask Africa Orange Index. Choose from a range of plans tailored to meet your needs. Visit bonitas.co.za and find your plan. T's and C's apply.
The Midday Report.
Oh, I have to switch the microphone on to end the show. Thank you so much for joining us this week. It's been a busy news week. And we'll be back again next week with more Madlanga inquiry, more ad hoc committee. It feels like that's a recurring theme every day to start our show. But it's been a pleasure sharing it with you. The Midday Report with Mandy Wiener on 702 and Cape Talk was brought to you by Nedbank Commercial Banking. Think bigger. Think Nedbank Commercial Banking. It's 1 o'clock.
This is EWN.
Former RAF CEO questions Scopa's authority to probe the entity, and rival Cape Town taxi associations under pressure to find peace. Good afternoon, I'm Bali Dlamini. Former Road Accident Fund CEO Collins Letswalo has questioned the authority of Parliament's Standing Committee on Public Accounts